Welcome. I'm attorney Peter Angelis. I'm a trial attorney licensed to practice in the state of Michigan and in the state of Ohio. I've been practicing for approximately 35 years. My prior videos have discussed best practices when litigating very significant personal injury cases. And today I'd like to discuss a little bit about preparing your professional truck driver to give a deposition. My practice has devoted a good deal of time to representing motor carriers in the defense of their personal injury cases. One of the key witnesses in these cases, of course, is the deposition of your professional driver. So a great deal of thought has to go into preparing your driver for his or her deposition. My experience and my practice is usually I am called to the scene of these major accidents by the insurance company or the motor carrier. I'm usually there within an hour, depending upon the location of the accident, or half day at most. Frequently when I appear at the accident, the driver is still there. I'll try to immediately introduce myself to the driver, call him over to the side, and get his version or her version of exactly what happened. The law enforcement authorities will eventually want to talk to the driver, and depending on what I learn, that may or may not be a good idea, but generally we're very cooperative at the scene of an accident regarding what happened, what we saw. You want your defense attorney to have some type of relationship with your professional driver. Ideally, the defense counsel assigned to represent the truck driver doesn't make the first introduction a week or so before a driver is going to be called upon to offer a deposition. There should be some rapport there, some trust. So eventually a case will go into litigation. Invariably, the deposition of the driver will be requested. And what I like to do is meet with that driver at least 1 or 2 times prior to the deposition. The first time may be to go over some of the ground rules regarding a deposition. Speak only after the question has been completed. Don't interrupt the other attorney. Listen to the question carefully and provide an answer to the question, and don't volunteer any extraneous information. Answer the question directly and clearly. Make sure you understand the question. If the other attorney assumes certain things in the question that are untrue, you can't answer that question. If you don't understand some of the words, you have to ask the attorney to rephrase the question so that you understand the question as a driver, as a witness. Make sure to impress upon the driver that the case is not going to be won or lost, but you're not going to convince the other attorney just to drop a case during a deposition. Drivers also like to sometimes speculate about things they don't exactly know in terms of speeds, distances, time, things of that nature. So we really try to emphasize to our drivers, don't speculate about things. You were not out there measuring the scene. You did not take photographs. You did not investigate how the accident occurred. You can only testify as to what you personally saw or heard and what your belief is based upon personal knowledge or information that you've received. Don't speculate about things that your company may have done that you're not personally aware of. Company policies and things of that nature. If you're not privy to those conversations, you don't have first-party knowledge about what things your company has done, you shouldn't answer those questions. You have a lack of foundation to answer those questions. Then I like to make sure that the driver understands the allegations in the complaint. So we'll go over the complaint with the driver so that the driver understands what the legal and factual issues are of a case. Finally, I'll make sure that the driver understands all of the written discovery that has been produced, not necessarily the medical records, but any discovery that has to do with who was at fault for the accident. We'll review the production of discovery that our office has done on behalf of the driver. We'll go through the police investigation. We'll go through the plaintiff's answers to written discovery as it pertains to who is at fault for the accident. We'll look at photographs so that the driver knows what's already been out there. And then finally, I'd like to do a little mock deposition with the driver. Might take a half hour, 45 minutes, and I'll videotape it. And you don't want the presence of a camera in the deposition room to phase your driver, to rattle your driver, intimidate your driver. So I'll conduct a session with the driver. I'll play the role of the opposing attorney, and I'll have a camera. And we'll use that videotape to review afterwards so that the driver can see him or herself on the video and be comfortable with the way he acted, the mannerisms, and things like that. It's important to make direct eye contact with the person asking the questions. Don't speak quickly, don't blurt out answers without thinking about them. It's important for the driver to actually see how he or she looks on video. And then on the day of the deposition, I'll usually like to meet with the client at least an hour before the deposition. We'll go through all the rules again. We'll go through all the anticipated questions again. We'll also make sure to tell the driver to listen carefully to any legal objections that we make. For instance, if we make an objection, lack of foundation, the witness should really consider, do I have the specific and required knowledge to answer this question? Did I take measurements? Do I know, exactly what the temperature was that day or the road conditions, whatever it is? The driver, when the driver hears a lack of foundation, if the driver knows, fine, go ahead and answer the question. So those are the general things that you want to do when you're preparing for a deposition of your professional driver. Usually those depositions are hotly contested. They're very important. And it's important to think out the process so that your driver is prepared for his or her deposition. Again, I'm attorney Peter Angelis, and I appreciate you checking in. Thank you.